Welcome to the Elevate Media Podcast with your host, Chris Anderson. In this show, Chris and his guests will share their knowledge and experience on how to go from zero to successful entrepreneur. They have built their businesses from scratch and are now ready to give back to those who are just starting. Let's get ready to learn, grow, and elevate our businesses. And now, your host, Chris Anderson.
Welcome back to another recording of the Elevate Media Podcast. I'm Chris Anderson, your host. Today, we're going to be talking about financial wellness and things that you can do to improve your financial situation, maybe get out a little bit of debt if you're in any of that, and some other topics around just this overarching theme of financial wellness. So I brought on Grady today, and he's an expert in finance and helping people improve their finances and get out of debt and just have a better situation financially. So Ty, welcome to the Elevate Media Podcast today.
Hello, Chris. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm excited to join you today.
Yeah, glad that you're here. Super excited to dive into this topic because I think it's one that gets overlooked a lot in the world of entrepreneurship. You know, we talk about mindset, we talk about business, marketing, all this fun stuff. But I think finances kind of gets the back burner when it necessarily doesn't need to get the back burner because it's such a crucial part, you know, profits, you know, debt, investments, all these things. And we don't learn about finances growing up. So, you know, where should we even start with finances? There's so much. I mean, we got people with school debt. We got business debt. We got just consumer debt. We've got investing, you know. If people are trying to get control of their finances and improve their financial wellness, where do they need to start looking first?
I want to start by saying, Chris, I grew up in poverty in Louisville, Kentucky, not too far away from Indiana. And it's not often that we speak to people in our families, communities, or in our educational system about money. There was a time I never thought that I would be in the position that I am in. And I truly believe we need to get to the psychology of money, to get to our mindset, to change our money mindset. Because often you can hear people say of these particular myths that money is the root of all evil. It's greedy to want a lot of money. I have to work hard, you know, to earn money. But that's truly not the case. It's shifting past those myths and overcoming these barriers and challenges that we're all accustomed to. Because like I mentioned, we don't have money talks. We don't have talks at the dinner table. We're told to stay hush. Don't talk about money. It's too taboo. Right. But money profoundly impacts our lives. So we want to get to the root of your financial difficulties, start building financial goals, building a solid foundation, financial foundation for individuals, entrepreneurs, and business owners out there.
And with business owners, where do you see their biggest struggle with finances? I mean, there's a lot out there, but so where do you see the most struggle for business owners?
You know, I think that it boils down to education for one. You have to educate yourself. You have to work with a business coach, financial advisor, an expert out there, you know, who can help you overcome those challenges, those difficulties. And you can't take advice because the holidays are coming up. You can't take money advice from your family, your relatives, or your neighbor because they could be experiencing, you know, the same things.
Right.
So, you know, we have to get to the numbers. You have to know the numbers.
Okay.
You have to know what an income statement is, a balance sheet is, a cash flow statement, and really get into those profit and loss statements. To get into your costs, your revenue, your expenses over a specific period of time. You have to do an overview of where your company is in a financial standing at a specific time. Know your assets, your liabilities, and if you're a larger company out there, your shareholder equity, so you can start to build up a successful, not a business that's just surviving, but that's thriving out there.
Yeah. So with that, you know, that's a lot, and education is key to that. How do people not get overwhelmed when they're starting out then, trying to learn all this, obviously finding a coach to guide them, but maybe if they don't have the profit margins yet to invest in that, like, I guess where would be number one place to start? I know, is it just kind of looking at your numbers and knowing what's coming in, what's coming out? Is that the kind of the groundwork to start with?
I would say build that groundwork, building that solid financial foundation for yourself is key. Build up your foundation, your 101, keep it simple, stick to the basics, have a financial mindset, understand your personal finances, because if your personal finances are dysfunctional, then your business finances tend to be dysfunctional too and in a disarray. So you have to set yourself up for these strong particular situations. And it depends on what level you're at. Some people may be in the beginner stage. I just spoke about some things in the beginner stage that you can do, create a solid foundation for yourself, knowing your cash in, cash out, establishing a budgeting process, staying away from debt, because debt can make your business insolvent. And we want to build businesses that are solvent, that last, know how to manage your credit. If you're in that beginner stage, have a preparedness, a saving preparedness, a game plan, a strategy, a savings plan. Okay. If you're in that intermediate stage, build a entrepreneurship strategy for yourself that's low cost, so you don't take on a lot of costs immediately, because that's what people can't do. Chris, you build businesses, that some people put the carriage before the horse. And we want to make sure that you build a solid business, and it doesn't always have to be brick and mortar, because you build an e-commerce business. I have too. Make sure you got the right people around you. And for, a higher level people out there, have a foundation, a growth strategy as you increase your financial knowledge. And it may require you to read journals, periodicals, the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, attend workshops, seminars, take online classes, whether they're free or paid. We're saying invest in yourself, Chris.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself.
Yeah, I think that's huge in any aspect of life and business. It's definitely investing in yourself. I couldn't agree more with you there. And, to go back to a point you made earlier about debt and accumulating debt in a poor way, do you have a position on the consumer debt, the credit cards, buying things you don't necessarily need versus business debt? Is there a good and bad debt, or do you see it all as negative?
Well, we live in America. They started pushing credit cards in the 1980s, early 1990s. It put our consumer cycle in a different phase. So I was speaking with one of my coaching clients, and she has a bunch of credit cards, and I'm asking her to come up with a strategy to pay off the smaller accounts first, and then start to snowball the rest of the accounts. So there must be a credit and debt management plan. How can you use credit wisely? That's what we should be asking people and showing too, and that's what we do. At Freedom Financial Institute. My company, so it's understanding how to use credit, know credit terms, credit limits, terms and conditions. Get a second pair of eyes to look over that information if you need to.
Yeah.
Okay, to really understand how credit works, because there's people out there that's racking up debt right now. Even after the pandemic, during the pandemic, we saw people paying off credit cards because people were getting money. But soon after, we're back at $1 trillion of credit card debt in America. People continue to just rack up credit card debt, suffocate themselves. And there's individuals not only in America, but the world living in a debt bonded situation, working just to pay off debt. We don't want you to do that. We want you to pay off your credit cards, give yourself a raise, take that discretionary income, disposable income, get an emergency savings, get 3 to 6 months of emergency savings set aside for yourself. Once that's established, invest in yourself. Invest in a business, start a business, send your kids to college, go on vacation and work. We want you to seek financial independence and freedom. And for businesses, why not start a business? But you need a plan, you need a strategy. Businesses are everywhere around the globe. 99% of companies are small businesses, and every large business you could think of, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, started off at a small business phase. And I'm sure they went maybe into the red, starting up, but you got to find a way to get into the black, right? To find a way to have a financial plan to finance your business, not for a year, not only for 2 years, for 5, 20, 30 years down the road, because businesses create intergenerational wealth, creates jobs. Your businesses support communities, as you know.
Yeah. So with that, I'm taking a guess here. Someone listening to this because of the debt situation in America, they're listening saying, Ty, I screwed up. I went to college, got student loans, and then I got into that debt cycle with credit cards. And, now I'm struggling. I can barely make the payments. Some of them I'm not making the payments. What's the plan? What steps can they take? So what if they can't make payments and they're trying to? They're out there, they're treading water. They're just trying to survive in this inflation economic time we're in. What would you say to those people who are really trying to, but they just aren't bringing enough in to make payments?
Chris, I truly believe financial illiteracy is a world epidemic, right? Mm-hmm. We don't teach financial education, and we should be pushing our financial systems, our political systems, to teach people to have financial education as part of our daily lives. Taught at 3 universities, built curriculum for 2 schools of businesses in America. And I taught financial education, personal finance, because as working in my 20 years of banking, mortgage, and finance, it pained me to see people piling up debt, not saving money, and having challenges and difficulties, not creating generational wealth. And it didn't matter if someone made $20,000 or $200,000 a year, the issues were the same. So for our listeners out there who are struggling to make those debt payments, for one, you have to open up your credit card bills, take it heads on, and have a financial mindset, and start to really dive into your financial situation and take control, of that debt. Mm-hmm. There's different ways to attack, this problem, whether it be to write down all of your credit cards, your loans, your personal loans, your mortgage debt that you have, and start to, pay off those credit cards slowly but surely. You can contact creditors to work out payment plans, repayment plans, because often credit cards that go to collections get sold for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So should someone, if they're trying to pay it off, they're maybe missing some, but paying the bigger ones, and those ones they're missing go to collections, like you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Is that a good strategy, or is that just something to let happen if you're just in a tight spot? So because you, like you said, pay off on pennies to the dollar, should you just let it go to collections, or should you try your best to keep payments going and not go to that route?
I would do my best. I would suggest that everyone pays their credit card bills on time. If you have to set up online bill payments through your banking account, checking account, savings account, those automatic payments will make sure that your creditors are paid on time. Yep. You can establish the snowball method, where you list all your credit cards on one piece of paper. Pay the smallest amounts down, pay above the principal. Once the first card is paid off, you take that principal payment, apply it to the next, smallest to largest. Or you can do the avalanche method, where you list all the high interest credit cards, the loans that you have with high balances, and you start to chop it that way, chop your credit cards that way, or work it from both ends. Yeah. When I worked in banking, I often did debt consolidation, loans for people to consolidate debt, but doing stress tests, 2 or 3 factors have to happen when you go to consolidate your debt. You have to make sure you get into a lower interest rate, mm-hmm. maybe a better term conditions, and you're saving $200, $300, $400 a month, not just $25 or $50, because that makes no sense. Get substantial savings if you do a debt consolidation loan there's others, or contact a financial coach like myself. You can reach out to Ty Grady at ty@freedomfinancialinstitute.com, and I'll be able to give you some help. Okay, there's help out there. You're not alone. Yeah. I was in a situation where my wife had $50,000 in credit card debt. You can check our story out on our website, but we paid it off. But you need a strategy, clarity, financial confidence, and you have to take actions and establish financial goals. All right.
Yeah, that's huge. And so with that, so say they have a plan and they're doing their best, they're paying, and something does go to collections. Maybe they forgot about it. Maybe they just didn't pay it because they're trying to pay everything else, and that one just didn't fit in the budget. I don't know much about that, the debt collection system. I don't know how that works. Like in my mind, like it's a scary thing. They're going to come knock on your door and take you to prison. Like I just don't know much about it. So what happens if something does go to collections? If someone's listening to this and saying, I think I have something going to go to collections. What happens in that situation? Are they going to go to jail? Like what's that process look like?
You love listening to podcasts, but have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Maybe you want to build a brand, grow your business, or are looking for an excuse to talk about your favorite hobby. Whatever your reason for making a podcast, Buzzsprout is the place to start. Since 2009, Buzzsprout has helped over 300,000 people launch their own podcasts. Buzzsprout walks you step by step through the whole process and will give you powerful tools to start, grow, and monetize your podcast. Ready to get started? Click the link in the show notes to get our free step-by-step guide to starting your podcast today.
Well, Chris, that's a great question, because I was in that situation years ago as a teenager. One of my cousins back in Louisville, Kentucky, took out some utility bills in my name, and it wasn't years after that I learned that he did so. So I would advise people to check your credit report. Often you can put fraudulent activity indicators on your credit report, but pull your credit report, scan the credit report, look at current accounts that you have open. If you have particular collections that you have, don't worry, I've been there. Here's a method that you can use. And this approach is call the call the creditors up, the collection agencies up. Okay. Their numbers are typically located on the back of the credit report. Call them up, and let's say, for example, you owe $300 on a mobile phone, a cell phone bill, okay, an old gym membership. Call the creditors up and say, hey, if I'm willing to settle this account in the next 15 to 30 days, what you owe is $300, offer them $150. Maybe even $100 to settle the account. Make sure that you pay them on time as promised, that you get a letter of satisfaction, and then you have to mention to them to update that collection account on your credit report so that clears, and then you'll start to see your credit score creep up. I mean, not going to say creep up, right? Start to increase, okay? Start to go up, and you do it with the next agency and the next agency and the next agency, and you eliminate the anxiety, the stress in your life. You sleep better at night because you're taking control, people.
Yeah.
Your own finances and giving yourself clarity, and it changes the conversation with your family, your significant other, as you go to improve your lifestyle and for the lifestyle for your loved ones.
Gotcha. Okay. So you have a little bit of room if a collector sends you stuff, or do they call? Like, do they come to your house? And not, again, I don't know the process. Is it just a mail? Do they just call your phone? Do they come to your house? What's the usual process for debt collectors?
Depending on the amount. These credit card, these agencies, these collection agencies, they'll keep hitting your credit score up. So your credit score will keep dropping. That's a penalty in itself to see your credit score drop, because your credit score is going to be tied to interest rates. So the better your credit score, the better you will be qualified and approved for interest rates, whether it be on a house or both, a loan. Now, they don't come knocking on your door, but sometimes depending on the amount and the aggressiveness of the collection agency, the creditor, they can garnish wages going to your account. It happened to someone in my wife's family in Michigan where she owed money. She had money in the account. They came and clawed the money out of her account, which was an account that was being used for her grandson and another relative. So that money was gone and lost. So just don't think that these creditors are sitting back.
So they can come into your bank account and just take money?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that have to be connected to the credit card, or it can be any account? They can just come into your account and say, I'm taking your money.
They can come into that account.
Any account, or is it connected to the credit card?
Well, if they can find out where you're banking at, and it makes sense, right? Because information shared between financial institutions, absolutely, sir, absolutely.
What? That's crazy.
Absolutely.
So they could come and just wipe your whole checking and savings out to clear everything?
Mm-hmm. They sure can.
Interesting.
Depending on the amount and depending on the type of debt.
What's that amount? Is there usually a certain amount that they will start doing that, or is it just kind of being on the company?
I don't know the particular amount, but I've seen it where it personally happened to me before, right? I owed someone a couple $1,000s in the past. I've been through it. That's why I'm
yeah.
I understand people. What happened to me? Okay, I owed a couple $1,000s, which is a significant amount to out there to owe, and they came into my account, checking account, and I said, "Wow,
that is crazy."
Okay, let me learn from this type of behavior.
Yeah,
let me not keep going down this dark road and get off this hamster wheel and clean my history up. And now I'm able to share this information with people, and because people excelling in life, loving what they do, having a passion, and getting on a roadmap to financial success. And these are the little things that we can do that we sometimes miss in life because we don't understand how money works. We don't have money talks in the household, in the community, in our education systems. And often, thank God, I was able to, come out of my situation as a child and a teenager to go work in banking. And I'm the type of person who wants to share and dissolve some of these issues and problems that I've seen over my 20 years working in these industries so we can better prepare people, because it will improve lives, improve the job market, improve the economy. Chris, can we help everyone? No, sir, right?
All right.
But we want to make sure we can get our contact. We can make contact, get our information, make ourselves available to people who are ready to take their lives to the next level, to get a sense of financial security, to hold on to their standard of living, and to bring it into the next generation.
Yeah, and I love that. I think it's needed. I wish they would teach it in school more, all this stuff. But, say someone, taking action, they've contacted their creditors, they're starting up payment plans, all this stuff, they're paying off debt, but during all this, their credit has taken a hit, whether it went into collections or whatever it might be, the credit has taken a hit. So they've got this plan, they're initiating it, things are going okay, like they're paying stuff off. What are some steps that people can take to improve their credit besides just making the payments, or is that the only way?
Mm-hmm. What someone can do for our young listeners out there, because it's difficult sometimes when you're young. I'm a former college professor, and you're looking to establish credit cards, credit history. So what you can do is take out a secured credit card, right? Or unsecured credit card, and you can start, go to your bank, taking out an unsecured credit card, putting, the secured credit card, putting $200 in the account, securing it against that $200, start to take money, off of that to build your credit history up. If you're someone out there who needs to continue to reestablish credit, make sure that you're looking at your credit report, staying on top of the activity within your credit report. When you pay off collections, when you pay off debts, contact the 3 agencies, the credit agencies, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, and indicate to them your activity, what you're doing. Hey, I just paid this MasterCard up, I just paid this old collection up. Could you update my credit report? Okay. You don't have to take out more credit cards.
Right.
You know, something with that. I need to take out 10 credit cards to credit. You really
Right.
don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, obviously paying your rent or paying your mortgage, paying your loans down, that all adds to it and helps your credit as well.
Student loans, car payments, or installment loans. Installment loans, you pay off these installments until the debt's gone. That is not bad credit because you definitely want to have a mixed use of credit. It's good to have credit cards, student loans. Don't feel bad, people out there, and car loans. Okay, it's good to have a blended mix of credit. That will improve your credit score, right? Your credit history to show that you have the ability to repay in different areas. So but I've seen this, Chris. I when I worked in mortgages, I would do a refinance. I would do a home purchase for individual or family, and then a person in the family or the individual goes out and opens up a car loan, and then it blows away the debt to income ratios. So with that and these ratios, and I don't want to go too far into it, the debt to income ratio is your debt versus your income, and these type of ratios that people don't know about help to establish what your rate, what your terms and conditions would be. So you always have to be mindful not to take on that extra car, that extra payment. And if you do, have a credit debt management plan to get these items paid off as soon as possible, so you're not paying high interest or continue to pay interest as you're in the loan.
So kind of to round things out, because this has been great. This has been a lot of good information, thing I've learned that I didn't even know was a thing. But for those who are struggling, to pay things off, they're just in a financial hurt. What be maybe a couple things, couple words of wisdom, couple pieces of advice or whatnot that would benefit them that you could share to kind of close things out?
I would say, and I want to say thank you, Chris, for allowing me to share once again. And if anyone out there needs help, reach out to me at ty@freedomfinancialinstitute.com, or you can go to my website, tygrady.com, as my other website is getting a refresh, done to it. But I would think about your psychology of money. Think about how you can start to get to the root of your financial difficulties, overcome these myths, build a financial foundation for yourself, and give yourself some goals. Do you want to pay your debt off, start a business, work and go on vacation, pay off all your debt? Give yourself realistic goals that you can achieve. Once those goals are established, give yourself measurables. Now, how are you going to measure your success? Because once you create a budget, and create a budget for yourself. Once you create a budget for yourself, you have to reevaluate it, readjust it, measure it, measure your success. Take action, people. Remember, whatever you decide to do, your life, your career, business, or money, we're having money talks, take action. Be realistic and give yourself timelines to accomplish these goals, right? Whether it be saving paying off your debt, saving your money to establish an emergency fund, to then go out to invest it in yourself, whether that be a business, the stock market, IRAs, brokerage accounts, your kids' future. We talked about owning homes and property. I do real estate. Maybe you want to buy properties. Maybe it's just starting a business and be an entrepreneur, but invest it into yourself so you can start to create wealth for yourself. If you're having some trepidations, if you're having, some doubt, put the next generation in front of you. Be selfless. Be selfless. Do it for someone that you love, because these money talks will help you go to the next level so you can see a high level of financial independence. And it's going to be you're going to be a lot happier doing it on your own. And you don't have to pay people or someone hundreds of $1,000s to learn a complex system. You could do it yourself. And if you need help, I'm there to help you out. My email is ty@freedomfinancialinstitute.com. You can find me on IG, Instagram at TyGrady1. I'm available on LinkedIn, YouTube. I am not hard to find, Chris, and you know that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, definitely get connected with Ty, put out great information so we can all learn more about finances and financial wellness, and continue just to improve for ourselves and for the future generation. So again, Ty, thanks so much for sharing today, all your expertise, all your guidance, and thanks again for being a guest on the Elevate Media Podcast.
Thank you, Chris. I'm looking forward to doing it again with you here in Florida.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that for sure.
Thank you for listening to the Elevate Media Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. See you in the next episode.